We are on the record. Good evening, everyone. This is a caucus of the Jersey City Municipal Council. Today is Monday, May 9th, in the year 2016. We had a scheduled 5:30 p.m. start. It's 5:39 p.m. President roll call. We have Councilperson Gajewski, Fagiano, Yun, Osborne, Rivera, Waterman, and Council President. We're missing Councilman Ramchal, who will not be here tonight, and Councilperson Coleman.
She's on her.
Okay. Council President, take us away.
Okay. Do you have any presentations tonight? No? Okay, good. Brian, you want to come on up?
Yes.
P.
10P.
10P,
Like
that's
flat.
a license agreement with Google Inc.
You have to give these out.
Oh, yeah.
10P.
Yes. Totally. Yeah, so I'll share an anecdote about this. The background behind it is some of these P like plat. Sorry, I mean I didn't put the agenda in that order. It just happens to be. So, you know, there are a lot of these processes in the city that are paper-based, and just thinking about how to put them in electronic format, we decided to make this one particular process in a Google form as far as the permit issuance goes. So Monty now types it into a Google form. And I thought, well, Google already has the data in a Google form. There's got to be a way to put it into traffic and navigation systems so it can be used on a wider basis and people don't have to go looking for this information when they need it. Found some people at Google that could make this happen, and it's something that not many other cities do. Actually, we're one of the first in the country, and there's only I think 65 in the world organizations that do this kind of thing. So we're very leading edge on this, and it also comes with the initial reason why we're even thinking about this was to make a street closure map, which is also in the data portal. I'll send everyone the link to it after this. But that map automatically updates based on the permits that Monty puts into the Google form. So it'll show you, and you can filter down to certain types of closures, if it's just a no parking or if it's a sidewalk closure. Anything that he puts in, as soon as he puts it in, it'll show on the map. It'll show any permit that's in there. So it's color-coded, and it's a quick win for the city. Any questions or anything about it? It's free. Everything's free. And also, so the agreement that you see there is a two-way data agreement, meaning that Google will actually send some Waze data to us about traffic patterns. We don't know exactly what that is yet because we can't really work with them until you approve this. So we won't know exactly what data we get until you say yes to it. But there's no work on our end. We built a feed that comes out of Monty's Google form, and it automatically sends them data, and they automatically send us data, and so it's really it just works.
When you say Monty, you mean
Monty Zucker, yeah.
Wasn't he transferred to another license part? Yeah,
I think so.
I think he
I think
was.
it was transferred to Ward C Council.
No. Ryan, I just spoke to him today. He told me they put him. He went downstairs with permits or something.
Really?
Yeah. I just spoke to him before.
His seat might be physically moved. Yes, he is. His desk may have been moved, but his function remains the same.
Well, the beauty of this is also that anyone can do it. It doesn't have to be Monty. It's just a Google form, and you fill out a couple of things. It automatically processes the permit and makes a PDF for the person, so it's pretty easy.
That's phenomenal. So if anybody using Waze,
Yeah. So if you're typing in navigation, yep. Yep. Right now it's just exactly. Right now it's just physical work in the street. So but Monty does do other permits as well that we're going to add into there very soon.
I think you just did. In other words, you say this is for make it easy for me. This is for permits.
Any permit that requires a closure of a street. So if you're PSE&G is installing a pipe, or someone has to close a sidewalk. What's that? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not in there right now. It's just the, yeah. What's that? Any permit that comes through Monty, he'll just type it in. So it's streamlining his workflow into the Google form that he uses to issue permits.
Okay, right, that's right here, that's good, we support it, but let me ask
This one.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the neighbor they call. Do we have any free Wi-Fi available at any city park?
You know, it's something we've been kicking around a little bit. It's I guess not for, it's a separate discussion we should have, but it's something we've been actually doing some research on.
I mean, downtown.
That has Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Not,
Free Wi-Fi
not
now?
from the city.
Not a city, right?
No, not from the city.
We're thinking about it though.
We don't have free Wi-Fi in City Hall.
Because
That's
Wi-Fi
true,
is
too.
not free.
Call me.
Wi-Fi is not free. In other words, it may be free for people to use, but some provider has to pay for Wi-Fi. So if it's Wi-Fi in the building or Wi-Fi in the park by the city, and believe me, it's a lot of money because I just got hit with an autistic kid using a phone to do, YouTube and something else that didn't have enough, whatever it had, and the bill came to $750 for just 5 days. So what I'm saying is Wi-Fi is not free. If somebody's using Wi-Fi in the city, it's paying for it. It may be free to the user, but not free to the provider. Is that correct, or am I?
That's true. And the installation costs are big too. They're big. Yeah.
I think New York City is New York City Park.
Yeah.
They provide as a population the Verizon or cable, whatever their company, they provide free Wi-Fi in a certain park. You know what I'm saying? So now that's why I'm asking you. We paid the Verizon almost how much? It's millions of dollars. So anything they can as a population, each district has one free Wi-Fi at the public park. I think is a good gesture for the.
We don't even have
So maybe we can
Wi-Fi in
find
this
out.
building. In other words, if I bring my own personal computer here and I want to do work, we don't have Wi-Fi in here.
2000.
Right.
We have circa 2000 Wi-Fi in this building. You have to download software to your computer. Yes.
So I think that's one of the items we
Basically, we don't
should
have
look
it.
into.
Yeah, we're thinking about it.
All right. Good.
And it's Sam from the mayor's office as well. Okay, anything else? I'm good? I'm off the, go home. I don't know what home. Yeah,
License agreement with Google,
yes.
and the data is being input into their Google Forms,
Yeah.
and then,
And we set up a feed, so the Google form creates a database of all the permits, and then we set up a feed pulling stuff from that database, sending it to Google. Anyone could access it. It's all public data anyway. We're just putting it in a format that makes it easier for them to stick it right into Waze, essentially. No cost for us, no cost to them, no fees, no nothing.
no time spent for people.
No, I mean, the time has basically already been spent building the thing, and it just goes. We're gonna have to tweak as we engage with Google a little bit, but other than that, we're pretty much done.
How long is this agreement?
As long as you want. I can't, I think it was in perpetuity, but we have the right to cancel if we want to. So. Yeah, Ray wrote it in, I'm pretty sure. 60, yeah.
Technology changes.
Yeah.
If there's some way, I don't know, down the road that people are start making money off of this, then
Okay, yeah.
we want to be able to,
But there was the information actually go to the Waze, like app. That's what I understand.
Yeah. So we put it we put the closure data in a format that the app can read it, a JSON feed for those tech geeks out there, and then it just automatically just gets thrown in there.
Nope.
Come on, give me a hard one. No. Thank you.
all right. We have Brooke here.
We're working on 10Z. This is a resolution authorizing the renewal of an open-ended contract with Klinger Tire for our tire services. 10Z2.
Z2. Klinger Tire.
That's it. We're buying tires. Any questions?
This is the second year of the contract for
Good.
You know what, actually, yes. Actually, last years, when we talked about the tire from this place,
I have a question is that, even the tire size is same and specification same, but based on brand, price can be different. But when I see that this one, the quotation from the company, they're not mentioned the brand name. That's why I feel uncomfortable. Even though they have a specification, is the way exactly they provide what we're looking for, but can be price big difference really. So when they give this kind of quotation for all this tire, I like to know what kind of brands they provide. You understand?
Yes. So I know that this is for 6 different size tires. In terms of brand, I'm not sure about the brand.
see, that's what I'm saying. Because they give the
Price. Items one is LT 235-75R15. So 4x4, they put in the 6550, but which brands is they going to charge 6550? Can be Michelin tire can be $80, you know what I'm saying? But some other tires can be far cheaper, non-brand name. So we should be put you some kind of, at least they tell us which brands they provide. Is it difficult to you?
I think there were the specifications in the bid proposal identified the type, not necessarily Goodyear or, whatever other brands there are, but the quality that was required. I guess there's some sort of grading system, so there were certain requirements they had to meet when they were bidding that. I think it's when you see the LR and PR, gives a classification of tire. I think they meet certain, yeah, so. You can't just bid on Goodrich tires. Because it has to be approved equals, so they have to make a determination if Goodrich or Michelin are the same. So I think they do it by the grading system, the DOT qualities, with the tire grading system.
Right?
You probably pull that out of the RFP, so you know.
Yeah, we can find out.
Okay, please, thank you. Okay.
And then next, we have 10Z3. It's a resolution authorizing award of contract to David Weber. It's for the purchase of various lubricants. All right, great, thank you.
Willow, do we need to talk about it? And, yep, we should.
Yes, they're going on as late items.
Excuse me?
They're going on as late items.
You want to come on up and talk about what item is it?
They're not on the agenda. The restaurant overlay zone expansion and the contracting documents for the resiliency planning document suite. Whichever you prefer. I have copies right here.
So let's talk about the resolution first. It was a resolution
Yes.
awarding to do competitive contracting for major engineering with regards to resiliency.
Resiliency, suite of resiliency documents, including a resiliency master plan, an adaptation plan, capital improvements plan. Basically, this is to be the master planning documents for the city's resiliency planning. The city's done a fair amount of studies, and these will actually provide the guidance that the city needs to go forward with resiliency improvements to the city as a whole.
It's grant funded and it's time
Yeah.
sensitive.
The grant will lose the money if we don't get this out.
$260,000.
And the document was at the agenda meeting, but there was a question on it and somehow it didn't get put back on. So it was there timely, but for whatever reason, the question didn't get answered timely.
So we'll get a copy
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. Margaret will send it out to the entire council. Okay.
full package should be with the law department, including the contracting agreement, all of the score sheets, the evaluation document, the summary. Those were all hand-delivered to the law department.
This is the second time I went through the process, right?
Yes, the first solicitation was canceled. This is the second time, and this time it's competitive contracting.
And what else?
Restaurant logo, we have to include one of the Bower Street one.
Yes, separately, the ordinance is an expansion of the restaurant overlay zone to, no, this is also being added as a late item. This is an expansion of the restaurant overlay zone, which the council may remember was also discussed with regards to the Heights previously. That at that meeting, several community groups from the Junction area had requested that the zone also be expanded to include the entire neighborhood commercial district in the Junction. We went to 3 community meetings regarding that, saw near unanimous support, in fact, by the end, unanimous support for this. The community is very excited about this. We'll be at the meeting on Wednesday, and we've analyzed this area and considered that it would be a benefit to this area. There was also a request from Councilman Yoon to add another area, a very small area in the Heights. So we have made an amended map that I have a copy of here if anyone would like to look at.
Councilperson Coleman, and then you.
Yes, someone stopped me at a meeting that lives in the Heights, and I wanted to bring this up for you. I don't know their name, but they said they've met with you already, and that they're against the overlay for the Heights. So I'm asking you, did you, I met with the Junction people, so I know that they wanted this, and they've pushed hard to get that, so I'm good with it. However, I just wanted to bring to your attention that a family from there is not very, very upset about it, so I don't know.
So far, I didn't get any complaint from them yet.
You weren't
My
at the
office.
meeting? That was the meeting at number 8 school?
Yes, at number 8 school, there was one woman who had voiced some concerns about a problematic bar near her house. That bar already has a liquor license, so they won't actually be affected one way or another by the restaurant overlay zone. And the main portion of the restaurant overlay zone changes to the Heights were actually already passed by the council previously. This is only one block and lot in the Heights. And the issue is actually not regarding a liquor license, but regarding a restaurant that is currently, the block is block 2306, lot 1. And the, the address is, it's a strange address because it's on Bowers, the address is on Webster Avenue, but the restaurant itself is on Bowers Street. It's the dark side of the Moo between Bowers, and they are looking for a sidewalk cafe, but they're not a permitted use, so.
10 years on the.
Yes,
You're in Bojian.
yes. In other words, if you needed the alligator sandwich, that's the place you can get. Very, very, very unique food they sell. Like if you know the kangaroo's meat sandwich, yes, it's there.
Meat sandwich.
Yes, whatever they call it.
Councilman Bojian?
Yeah, if you remember at that meeting, quite a few people were complaining, they didn't want this to spread down the side streets. Even if you had a restaurant that didn't have alcohol or liquor, they didn't want them in their residential areas.
I'm not sure I've heard that concern expressed to me, Councilman, and no, I've had no one contact our office expressing concern about it. I don't recall.
With something and find out some information.
So far, I didn't get any,
All right, then if that's.
formal complaint, we didn't receive anything. Yeah, okay, all right.
Anything else, late item?
No. That's not supposed to go on, not for me. The scatter site's not supposed to go.
Is monitor the
Yeah.
Mars Canal,
Those are
Mars Canal West, the Rezo, and the scatter site?
Rizzo, we took care of.
Okay.
We have to talk about Mars Canal.
Mars Canal, there's,
You got a late item from Morris now?
yes, yeah. Okay.
Scatter site's not supposed to go.
What?
Scatter site's not supposed to go. Okay, so.
Yeah, late items for Morris Canal is not good unless they've been a part of that.
They actually have, apparently this has been around a while. I think it's one of those that was just, there was so many going on with Morris Canal that there was some confusion that this is one of the new ones that was controversial. This is the 100 Monitor Street that is the rehab by Iron State. It actually involved only minor adjustments to the zoning. It's a conforming, it doesn't change the density or the height. It stays at 5 stories. And what it does is essentially allow office to be permitted on the ground floor in addition to retail. That's all it does. And it was the TDR, I think it's called West. And I think there were several others out there pending, and they all have similar names. It's TDR South and TDR North, and it's very confusing. But this one was the straightforward one. That's why we let it go forward. Yes, yes.
There's no building.
No, it's
Oh, it's
there
not?
right now.
What are they doing with that big building that's, you go down Pacific and by Monitor, it's on the old bomb factory?
Is right now, it's unknown, but it's hopefully slated to be redeveloped with this next project, this designated. I think the developer has to still be designated. I'm not sure if it's finalized. And that's a JCRA question, but I'll find out.
So how many years work the planning board?
How many what?
How many years working, you know?
26.
So you're acting director?
No, right? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, we,
Easiest question ever asked.
Yes.
We know, what is that gonna be?
So there'll be two ordinances, I guess they'll become 3H, 3G and 3H. Two of them are first reading ordinances, one's a resolution for the contract, and you'll have all of them tomorrow morning to Margaret, and she'll make sure it gets out to the council. Okay? Thanks. So just, Mr. Kaiser, I know you're here for the scatter site, it's not on the agenda. If you want to, just give you a heads up on that, okay? It's not on this agenda. So if you want to come to the next council meeting and speak there, you have to sign up with this gentleman here, the Robert Byrne, city clerk, and he'll allow you to have that opportunity. Okay.
This family was at our redevelopment meeting, revision, and they had some concerns, but I was gonna talk, this is about Michael Young's area, right? Did you talk to your councilman about this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's supposed to be today on the... Yeah, so we're not, the caucus meeting is not intended for this purpose, so it's not on this agenda. I was just letting them know as a courtesy, because I didn't want you to wait and hoping that it would come up for discussion.
Public session, you can speak.
It is not on this agenda.
Not on this agenda.
You're welcome to speak in the public speaking, and you have to talk to the city clerk about signing up for that. And if you need more instruction on how to do that, Margaret can inform you on that. Okay? Great. So there's no other city workers here for anything? Okay, so let's take it from the top.
All right, first is a capital bond ordinance. Yeah, 3A. City Ordinance 16083. It's an ordinance of the city providing for various capital improvements in the amount $29,858,755 and providing for the issuance of 5% less in general improvement bonds or notes. That provides for the down payment. B is a ordinance amending the traffic code.
Hold on.
Any
All
questions on A?
Yeah, 3A, okay, about 3A has our issue is that September.
money from the county, is that what that's saying?
This is a bond.
What?
Capital improvement bond.
This is our capital budget.
Capital improvement, okay.
We're going off the capital projects in the next 12 months.
Okay, my concern is that September 2014, we issued $35 million capital improvement. At the time, they provide the city council where they're going to spend the $35 million. So when you see that the old items, we printed there, let's put it this way, like a Pershing field track, $800,000. And the reservoir 3 stabilization, $300,000. Riverview Fisk, $800,000. It's a lot of items.
I'll provide you with a list tomorrow. all
Yes,
the
but
items.
my concern is that we not even, those kind of money, we not even spent yet at all. So now, another one, actually last city council, we actually $2 million we allocated different, items, yes. So those items we compare with what we have today, gonna issue another $28.5 million. That's a lot of items that duplicated. You know what I'm saying? So now my concern is that we not even fully spend $35 million, which we actually bond September 2014 yet. Now we not even spent the money yet, most of them yet, and we're going to issue another $28.5 million. I think it sounds like not right. We should be spent what we proved that 2014. All the capital improvements are done. After that, we talk about the $28.5 million bond for new bond, you know what I'm saying? Because even though we issue this one, we're not going to be able to finish this year's, you know what I'm saying? Because already 14 capital improve done nothing, you know what I'm saying? But they do some, actually, but only probably, I don't know how many percent they spend, So now what I like to have, before we talk about new bond, $36 million bond I like to have a list, which project, how much we spend, how much balance left, you know what I'm saying? So we at least knows that so much money, I don't know how much will be, we still a long way to go. And even the issue bond, the problem is that our architecture, the department, the DPW, well, under the U, the one architecture cannot handle all those work, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't make any sense because we cannot even, our department, under the U department, the DPW, cannot even handle that, spend the money to, you know what I'm saying? But we continue issue bond, I think that's not fair taxpayer,
Well, not all the projects are strictly architectural or engineering specific. Some are IT related, which currently right now is out of capital funds. We need funding for. I'm sorry? Road resurfacing, next meeting, you're gonna be awarding hopefully a contract for the concrete work, and then a month later for the resurfacing contract. So that whole street resurfacing contract will be going full force this spring and summer. The money in this capital bond will be for the projects that are matches for various grants the city has accepted, DOT grants. The fire department has an OSHA regulation they have to comply with in terms of the self-breathing apparatuses that they need. That's $900,000. There is projects that are phases, not necessarily all of 1 year. So maybe you funded part of it in the last one in 14. This is round 2. So they got to start getting their pool of money to get the project running. So to say that we haven't spent all the money in 14 is probably not fair and accurate, but I can give you a list of all the projects that we have funded, have you spent, and give you current balances. I would think the large part of it will be the street resurfacing, $8 million last time. I think the library still has several $1 million they haven't spent yet. But for the most part, everything else at $35 million has probably been spent already.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll check.
I like to have a full report. And also, if we see that last one, we city council spent $2 million, which is issue bond 2014, September. Let's put it this way. Here you go, another items, I can say that.
That's money reappropriated from the old incinerator authority that we've put into other city projects.
Yes, we see just sweepers and mini sweepers, dump trucks, so on. So we put just $765,000 here. Last week, city council approved that. But meantime, and the new, another is a $28.5 million bond. We are almost the same items over and over again. So I like to know how many mini sweepers we need, how many dump trucks we need, you know what I'm saying? Based on plans, we gotta tell them, listen, we need 5 mini sweepers, but last time when we issued $35 million, we were unable to allocate 2 sweepers, but because we need 5, 3 mini sweepers, we're gonna purchase from the 20.5. So we, as a city officers, council people knows that how we're gonna spend, how much is left over.
Fair enough.
As you know that, we have a $67 million debt per year, and we have almost outstanding $650 million outstanding, at the bond balance. I think I feel uncomfortable, so we gotta make clear for that. Okay, so
fair enough.
Councilperson Osborne and Coleman, did you have a question?
So I agree with the sentiment of we should be tracking, we should know, like, you know, where each of these are, and if they haven't been spent, why they haven't been spent. I personally disagree that we need to, you know, only do one thing at a time, because otherwise nothing will ever get done, and these are but by definition, these are multi-year, when you bond, these are big projects, and we have to kind of stagger them. It's maybe complicated to track from a project management perspective, but this is how you have to do it. But I do think that this was an interesting point that Michael made about understanding like what a department's needs are and saying like, this is our overall need. And okay, and in 2014 bonds will cover this portion of what they need, and 2016 bonds will cover this portion, but they have a whole kind of like, just seeing it visually that way, so you could kind of understand like, okay.
We have a 6-year plan. We can
Yeah,
share that with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
By department?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
That was more or less.
I think that's what you're asking for.
I wanna see what we spent, 35 million on, and I wanna see what's left, and I wanna see what your intentions are of spending the next
I can tell you
time.
the parks account is as low as it's ever been in 30 years. So that money was spent. Like I said, the street resurfacing money is still there, but that will be spent this year. And the library has some money. Correct.
So, but now that we have a vendor, we're gonna do it, right?
And I'll just also add that we had a budget hearing for public safety and talked about getting more of those
CCTV.
enforcement officers and CCTV, and the cameras are also all part of this ordinance, so it's, yep.
New elevator, $250,000. I didn't say any new elevator. This is which we allocated 2014. You know, city hall restrooms, we allocate $350,000. I didn't say any improvement to city hall bathroom, which is you complain.
Oh, there's really?
Yes.
There's money in there? Because I was literally, they're horrible. I was gonna go paint them myself one weekend. Because they are that
No,
bad. It's
really.
embarrassing. It's really embarrassing that people would go in there.
See, this is what I'm saying. We allocate the monies already, but unfortunately, the department cannot handle the overfilling all their job. They cannot even handle it. So with the minutes with city council proved that $28.5 million bond, that also actually hurt our credit rating in the city of Jersey City, because we proved that. At the meantime,
That's not true.
that's not true, maybe, yeah, maybe you're right, you know better than anybody else, okay? But I feel like, and the $28.5 million, we're gonna be, even the issue, we don't know how, when, how we're gonna spend, you know what I'm saying? Because even though we proved that 2 years, we're still not able to spend it, you know? Okay? So please.
You're gonna notice, council members, there's no resolution making an application to the local finance board.
Yes.
It really contradicts your point, Councilman Yun. The city now doesn't even have to make an application to the local finance board to spend these kind of monies because of its,
It's in such a good position.
Yeah.
because of our credit position.
Right. Wow. That means we did good. Yeah.
Okay,
All right, B is a traffic ordinance designating stop intersections at Erie and 7th, McAdoo and Fowler, and New York and Franklin Street. We have three 5-year tax abatements, 212 3rd Street, 134 Cottage Street, and 60 Van Rypen Avenue.
and these all came in before, correct me if I'm wrong, John, before we enacted the ordinance, so they already completed construction, it's done. Okay,
F is a 10-year tax exemption for a mixed-use market rate condominium project to be constructed by 380 Newark Realty Urban Renewal for 380 Newark Avenue.
The applicant is here if you wish to see the presentation, but I don't know if there are any questions.
Do you have anybody?
Councilperson Coleman?
Confused, why is Newark Avenue getting a 10-year tax abatement? Tier 2. That's a Tier 2, Newark Avenue? Downtown Jersey City?
It's like down here,
Near the firehouse.
It's actually almost close to Charlie Square, if you think about it.
Near the turnpike, you know when
Right
they,
before, the hill goes up to Dickinson,
Okay.
part of the train trestle.
near Gilly's Bar.
If you're familiar with that location.
Okay.
Just trying to get landmarks.
Stories. The developer said it's near the turnpike, but people from New York don't care about that. So what does it matter near the turnpike? It's still downtown.
When they scrapping paint, the leader paint, when you drop there.
Any questions on this? The developer's here since...
Okay, we have a public hearing on the Historic Downtown Special Improvement District Budget and Assessment Roll.
This gentleman has a picture of it, can we see? This guy has a picture of 380 Newark Avenue. Can we just see what it's gonna look like?
Sure.
It's gonna look like
Thank you.
the same joint across the
Right across the street, you said?
Probably.
It's gonna look like right across the street?
Probably.
That's what it looks like.
That's what it look, okay. Yeah, see, I like to see this. Because it helps you make a determination better. Here, look, that's what it looks like now.
Listen,
It's ridiculous. Sure. That's ridiculous.
they were pounding in the pile drivers the other day, my house was shaking from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Should be water. Thank you. So what is my project happening on Fairmont Avenue and Bergen? Oh, is that another developer? I don't want development crazy. Oh, it's not you? It's not you, Fairmont Bergen? No, well, when is that happening? You told me you was ready to break ground today.
They're ready to break ground.
Well, what's the problem?
I don't really know. I'll find out though, Councilman.
Yeah, you need to find out. 'Cause, you know.
Absolutely will. That's, yeah, I know.
How many
Yeah,
parking spaces,
okay.
Jane?
20.
20?
Okay, folks. Gene, you want to come up to the front and... Folks, can we give Gene, Paulina your attention? Yeah.
That's before, right? That's before, right here on the table next to you. That's what it looks like now.
Is the parking deeded? Is the parking deeded or is it
Dated?
deeded?
Deeded, yes, it's a limited common element. No, it's a limited, yes, it is a limited common element. These are condos.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning, like, is there deeded to the units, or they're?
Yes.
Okay, so some unit holders will get a parking spot and others will not?
You know where that's at.
Okay.
It's a relatively simple tax abatement. It's a 10-year abatement. It's 45 condominium units, mostly two-bedroom units. It's a 7-story building, 20 parking spaces. There's 2 commercial units on the ground floor. It's required under the Clinton neighborhood commercial zoning. It was vetted by the Village Neighborhood Association. They looked at it, even though it's kind of like outside of their area. We did speak with them. In fact, not only did we speak with them, there were changes made as a result of their comments before we went to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Went to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, they unanimously approved it. The amount of taxes is considerably different. You'll see that it was, if you took the present taxes, which is on vacant land, it's like $24,000, and with this application here, you should be getting about $438,000 from 24 to 438, 1 year. Over 10 years, multiplied by 10. It's about $4 million. So that's about the application. It's not complicated.
Gene, where are these people on the park for this 20 units? All the 45. There's no parking in that whole area right now, possibly.
That was part of the discussion with the DNA, and they were, at the end of the day, they were satisfied with 20 parking spaces in. It was suitable for them and suitable to the board.
You know, it's gotta stop. There's no parking anywhere there. You can't even park on a Friday night for the Healy's Tavern or Saturday night.
It's generally about 25 parking per unit.
They should have
45 units, you have 20 parking. 7. Well, the 6th floor is residential, 1 is retail.
Where they're gonna park, that's gonna be a problem. In other words, the people, you're gonna give.
What kind of retail is there? That's not defined here, because we don't know what kind of tenants we're gonna get. And there's 28 bikes.
Do me a favor.
Space between, yeah. Not stations, spaces in the building.
They were pile driving the other day in my house.
Shake. All
Your
right?
house was shaking?
Yeah,
They won't
yeah.
be
It shows
eligible for
because of
street
the pile
parking.
driving?
Yeah, because I wrote down and they were doing the pilot.
People who buy it know what they're getting into. They will not be eligible for street parking.
Not eligible.
Correct.
Campbell shop, say you had a Campbell shop there. If I wanted to go to the Campbell shop and buy some simple Campbell's,
You can, they can get
how
street
would I
parking.
get there?
But they'll have parking, but in the front right there.
It's in a strange
There's 3 parking
location.
spaces there.
That's,
There's 3.
it's fine, guys. It's on Newark Avenue.
It is.
It's in a
This
strange
is,
location in town. It's Newark Avenue.
And Sixth Street.
But it's also Division Street and Sixth.
it's,
It's kind of
it's,
like a strange intersection.
it's good planning.
It's parking available, there's, Main Street, you know, even in the back.
This is not what I'm worried about causing a parking problem in the village. If I had to say what I was worried about, it's the big, huge music hall that's coming in there. This is not gonna cause trouble with parking.
What's the music for?
What's
What's the music for?
About 1,200 people. It'll have concerts with about
There's
1,200
a
people.
project in
It's the old
across the street.
Folks, questions? Okay, Gene, there's no questions for you. All right? Okay.
Second readings?
Yeah. So second readings. Candace?
Okay. I know you didn't write it, John, but I'm hoping you can answer it. Let me just go through my emails from residents.
Which number are we looking at again? 4B.
So the first one, so there was concern, so my understanding, start with my understanding. My fundamental understanding is this was based on state law, the state EPA standards for noise. So I've gotten 2 types of complaints or questions. I've gotten several people asking for this to be tabled, but before even like approaching Councilman Boggiano about that, it could be misinformation that these people are hearing, so that's why I wanted to bring it up. The first one is construction on the weekends. So they're concerned that this is going to open up the door for construction on weekends, and right now, on the weekends, it's pretty much limited to only, inside work and whatever. So I need to understand if this is going to open up construction on weekends.
What this allows for, and I believe it says it, and I can find the exact section. There is a limit to how much noise one can create as a result of construction on the weekends. And I think there was a chart distributed the last time. The maximum level on the weekends, I believe, is 40 decibels, which, to give you an idea of what 40 decibel is, it is a conversation overheard from 10 feet away. So if you're able to build on the weekend and you're able to somehow keep the noise level down to a mild conversation, that would be permitted. But I think obviously that would be very difficult under most.
So that essentially is codifying you can work on inside.
You can work on outside as long as you keep it to 40 decibels.
Right, and it doesn't change our permit process today, which is that we don't give it out on the weekends for anything other than, this isn't gonna.
What do we currently permit?
Right, so, because there's currently, it's not allowed on the weekends, unless in emergency, they get emergency permits. So construction's not allowed on the weekends except for with emergency contracts. I mean, not emergency contracts, emergency, permission, whatever the word is. So when they do the emergency permissions, they generally only do it for inside work.
And then they work on the
Conceivably,
outside.
if the inside work exceeds 40 decibels, that would be a problem. So, right.
Nobody's gonna have a problem with that. I think what people are gonna have a problem with is the getting permission. Will this
walk outside,
change that current rule? There's a different law, I think. My understanding, okay? That there's a different law that says you can't do construction on the weekends unless it's emergency and you've got an emergency permit from HEDC.
Is that valid?
No, they're working on weekends.
So just be clear about this notion of emergency. I just want to separate something that is important. So emergency work like utility work, right, that's not included in this. It is my understanding that people have applied for a permit to do work on the weekends, and some permits have been granted. I don't know pursuant to what ordinance or law those permits have been granted. I can't speak to that because that's a construction code issue, and I don't know what the circumstances are. What this ordinance does, and it is entirely consistent with what the state law would require, is that whatever happens on a weekend, as long as it doesn't exceed a certain decibel. Now, if the person comes in and says, I want to do pile driving on the weekend, I think a reasonable person being able to look at the decibel levels and limits would be able to say there's no way you can do that and be consistent with the law. So I can't speak to what indoor, outdoor, that distinction is, by this reading, is less relevant than the sound level. So.
They issue permits for the cranes on top of roofs. Because they say they can't do it during the week, it has to be done on weekends, and that's been going on.
Yeah, take them down.
That's
Yeah.
where the noises come in. Pile driving would be out and all that.
So if anything, this will limit
Yeah.
what they've been doing as for emergency work on the weekends. Okay.
Can you just verify for me what is currently permissible to do on weekends?
I can check back with the construction code official. I'd rather consult with him before.
Understanding 100% clearly how this law and whatever law governing that is work together, and which one's overriding which, or whatever in whatever situation.
But this much should be clear. Right now, we don't have a noise ordinance that's valid, because we can't enforce what we have in the books. The only way we could enforce a noise ordinance is if the EPA, the DEP, approves our ordinance. So it's either this or it's something very close to it.
So, and then
or nothing.
Leads me to my second question, which is something, a question that we've gotten from a couple of the more performance and music related folks, who've brought up three particular concerns. They think their concern is that we're potentially could make it more in line with, and I just got this like 10 minutes ago, let me open it. With New York City standards. Their concerns are with specifically the DCB measurement, saying that it's not the right scale to use, if there's other scales that could be used to appropriately measure. I don't know if that is valid, or there's this memo I can forward. The next one, so I don't know if you investigated this or saw this memo. The next one was a 3 decibel threshold. It said a mere 3 decibel increase would earn someone a violation, but 3 decibels is often quoted as the sound level change, which is just barely audible to the average person. In other words, if the sound level goes up even the slightest subjective amount, that would trigger a violation. This is far too sensitive. New York City has a stringent code, and they have 6 dBc increase as their threshold. So I don't know if you looked at this.
I'm aware of it, but again, in order for this ordinance to get passed, it has to be approved by the State Department of Environmental Protection. And their standards are their standards. Whatever New York City does, it's different from the states. It's either what the DEP allows or it's nothing. So I recognize that there are limits, and people might say, well, but is there a grace period? I understand that a 3 decibel increase may not be a lot, but then I don't know how else the line could be drawn. It has to be drawn somewhere, and then...
And we couldn't say 6 decibels like New York does.
Honestly, 6 decibels and 3 decibels is practically meaningless. The difference between, it's sort of like a seismic graph, you know. Difference between a 5.1 and a 5.2 earthquake is one thing. The difference between a 5 and a 7 is huge. Right. So the difference between 40 decibels and 60 decibels is significant, but 61 and 62 is, or 61 and 66 is very de minimis.
Last point they brought up was the fast response setting. They said the use of fast response setting will also pick up the slightest and briefest noises not necessarily related to the source of the sound being investigated. The New York City Noise Code specifically requires the slow setting.
I was told that's like an equipment setting.
The what?
It's like an equipment setting, that whatever tool they're using to measure, that if they go from fast to slow setting, that it's a more accurate
Whatever
reading.
ordinance the DEP approves the measuring equipment will have to be calibrated consistent with those standards. So, you know, again, I can't speak for what they do in New York or how they calibrate sound in New York, but it's going to have to be what we do in the state of New Jersey, and the sound equipment.
New Jersey doesn't allow, if we have nothing today, I'm going to be a little bit, I'm going to push you a little bit here. We have nothing today, so we're going to do zero enforcement. The state has something that's maybe really strong, and we're saying, well, we wanted to go maybe somewhere here in the middle, and they'll say, nope, you can't do that. You can either do nothing or do really strong. That's literally how it is. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what the DEP's standards indicate. If we have an ordinance right now, and it's chapter 222, I believe, and if we were to write a violation based on that ordinance, and that would be challenged in court, somebody would say, well, who approved this ordinance? Not the DEP, it's invalid. I reckon.
DEP won't approve us if we make any changes unless it's exactly how they say.
I would say that the farther you deviate from their standards, the less likely it is to get approved. I'm not a sound engineer, so I'm not familiar with this type of calibration device.
Can we run the changes by them and get their feedback and?
I don't know how willing they are to provide advisory opinions. I mean, I suppose we can ask, but we can always amend what we pass if it becomes problematic.
We understand, but how many tools or device we have in this city to measure the noise level? How many we have there? Do we have it?
We have tools to do so. I believe at Maynard Woodson's office over in Commerce. I don't know how many of the devices he has, but we do have them.
Commerce. Yeah, but they're not open Saturday, Sunday, weekend.
They're gonna have to.
Well, then hours will have to be changed accordingly to accommodate. But right now, there's nothing for them to enforce, essentially.
Weekends, because that's when most of the violations occur.
That's what I'm saying. Major concern is the people is that weekend noise, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you don't have the ordinance, you can't change the work schedule. You have to change.
You understand?
You have to have an ordinance to change the work schedule.
Good to have. Good to have. But we cannot enforce it because they're not working weekend.
People are just getting sick and tired of all the development, the
Yes.
disruption of the neighborhoods and everything like that.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think there's just a little concern from some of the people who do like art house and some of the people who do music and stuff.
They don't
Yes.
want nobody to do that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. But general public has a concern.
Buildings
Okay.
coming down, you know.
I got no further questions.
So what if we take some of those ideas, run them by, and, just request? The worst they can say is no, if it's providing an advisory opinion on it, and,
Well, can you forward me, I don't know what those,
Yeah.
and if we need to amend, then we can amend, if it meets council's.
And we can, and to get it passed, we can pass it and then we can amend it. But I really want to make sure that we don't forget.
Do we have to have certified technicians,
So long as
state,
it doesn't
for the
have
certification?
yeah, you have to have a certification.
That's my one caveat.
Somebody did have a certification.
No, I know.
I don't know if it still works, I don't know.
Right, but make sure we don't inadvertently create.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just about to say, talk about that. So, let me say at the outset on M, that, I'm gonna make a motion to table. M, the 4M, the Better Jobs Ordinance.
Before the public hearing?
After the public hearing, I'd like to get the public input, yeah. I've heard from a number of folks, including council members. What's that? That was a public speaking.
Public speaking portion.
Yeah, we had a public hearing on this.
Now, there was a public speaking, which people signed up to speak on. So, I would like to have the public hearing, get the public input. Obviously, there'll be people for, and I'm sure there'll be people against it as well, who will come to speak. I've spoken to a number of property owners as well as management companies. They've expressed concerns, and I'd like to take some more time to meet with them. And also a number of council people, and I know that you've gotten the emails from Americans for Prosperity. And I think I shared my opinion on, well, I think there are some valid reasons. I guess I take it with a grain of salt, Americans for Prosperity, and their feedback on that.
And all we're doing is mandating that a new contract comes in, it can't just fire the people that are already there? They need a transition period? Is that what we're
There's a
doing?
90-day transition period, and they can only terminate people with cause. So just be clear, it's not like you can just, they can just wait 90 days and then get rid of folks.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't understand that.
I said that a couple of times at the last meeting, so I just want to make sure.
I missed that then.
Yeah.
So basically, we're forcing, when property changes hands, we're forcing you to keep
All
all of the employees that were there. No, not for 90 days, forever.
Not.
They can terminate with cause.
Yeah, but I think.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Let's be clear what that means, because that's what I'm saying, it's really confusing.
Yep.
I thought it was a great.
On the 91st day, can they say, bye-bye, we're hiring all new people?
No.
Okay, so that basically means
You're making them keep those people forever?
forever.
This is the government
They can-
interfering with business. They should stay the heck out of business and mind that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I thought this was 90 day. I didn't understand that with, I thought you meant with cause within the 90 days. No, I thought everything applied within the 90 days.
90 days of notice, I guess, right? 90 days notice.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
90-day notice that they had to have, that they would be terminated.
Yeah, so that's what we understand. They're required 90 days notice, that is what I understand, okay?
But that doesn't, that's.
90 day notice is reasonable for the existing employee.
So we can have additional conversations about that, since it wasn't clearly understood. Yeah.
Still don't feel like I understand it. I'm hearing like so many different opinions. I really don't understand it. Can you try to explain it to me?
And I misunderstand.
I mean, if you're changing management companies,
Yeah.
or the building or property ownership changes hands, the law requires that you retain the employees for 90 days, and that if you are looking to change the employee, you can terminate someone with cause,
Within the 90 days?
within the 90 days.
Okay, on the 91st day. What is it, because I'm trying to understand what the purpose of 90 days is. On the 91st day, what could happen?
On the 91st day,
Because I no longer need their service. Can I do that?
Peter, folks,
It's all in the text of the ordinance itself, so if I might, maybe just walk you through it.
Yeah, well, really I didn't understand it, because I'm confused.
So, as you all said, there is this 90-day grace period, that, the employees must be, retained during that period. At
No
the
way.
end of the 90-day period, each, employer must give each effective service employee a written offer of employment and send a copy to the employee's collective bargaining representative, if any.
We should mind our business.
Then it says, each successor service employer may retain less than all of the affected service employees during the 90-day transition period if the successor employer, 1, finds that fewer service employees are required to perform the work than the predecessor employer had employed. In other words, we're no one's forcing you to keep more than you need.
But
Number
you're
2,
forcing me to keep those that are there.
retain service employees by seniority within each job classification. And 3, maintains a preferential hiring list of those employees not retained. So if anybody gets let
You
go,
shouldn't do that.
there's a list just like the city has.
Can we do that for the city too?
In fact, this is mirrored after what the city already has on the book.
I see other stuff.
Right, we see the problem.
Yeah. You gonna table that one too, right? See.
we will table that one as well.
Okay, good, okay.
Okay, let's move on. I'm good now.
Resolutions?
Resolutions. Any other questions, second readings? Hearing none? No. Moving forward.
We have an emergency, 10A is an emergency temporary appropriation. B is canceling aging items of revenue in the current fund and authorizing their use as anticipated revenue in the calendar year 2016 budget.
Okay.
C is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of aging items of revenue in the capital fund. D is designating the week of May 15th through the 21st as Emergency Medical Services Week. E and F are the approval of the Historic Downtown Special Improvement District budget and assessment roll. G, we're starting the process with Central Avenue introducing their budget. H, authorizing the acceptance of a bid for the sale by assignment of certificate of tax sale for Domus Corporation, that's H. I, replacing the lost third-party tax sale certificate sold to Milnish Enterprises. J is authorizing property not needed for public use at a public auction, 97-101 Martin Luther King Drive, 228 Dwight Street, and 12 Parnell Place. K is extending a license agreement with the Jersey City Public Schools for 51 Crescent Avenue. L, extending a license agreement with the public schools for 166 Danforth.
I have
Yeah.
Likewise for M and N, 193 Grand and 198 Plainfield Avenue.
Can't you explain to us a bit, Paul? That,
These are
yeah.
city properties adjacent to the schools that have been used by the schools for years for either, the trailers they've used for additional classroom space or for space for the kids to have some outdoor activities. Or maybe in some cases, I think the 51 Crescent is a building that they actually use for do some renovations to teach the skills of shop class. So they do some renovations and maybe even some parking is one of them. But it's continuation of a long-standing agreement with the Board of Ed.
Councilperson Osborne?
We need to M, because that is Four Corners Park in Paulus Hook, and they're expecting the funding for that is it's being done, it's being handled by the Neighborhood Association. There's been various grants as well as developers have given money. And there's architecture plans, and I believe the breaking ground on that Four Corners project is supposed to happen in September of this year. Yeah.
Does the school know that?
I don't know. I don't know.
If they knew the school needed to know.
The school knows that this is going away. I mean, they've been borrowing a corner of a park since 2013, but it was always going to be a park, and there was a lot. It goes back years ago. It was always going to be redone, and I've heard from Paulus Hook that they're thinking they'll be ready to break ground in September. So I would assume that we wouldn't want to give a year lease.
I'll do some research on it more and get back.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let me make some phone calls tomorrow.
At the very least, there should be a clause to allow for cancellation and so forth, right? Good. Yeah.
And then I have one other question about one that we went by. You're going too fast for me tonight, Robert.
Sorry.
10C.
She's from the south, you gotta go slow.
You gotta go slow. We're canceling, but it doesn't say what's happening to the capital reserve accounts. It just says canceling it.
It's going to capital surplus. So these are old projects. I remember the councilman, in the audit, it shows we have audit findings having all these old open balances. So the budget office has been working through all those open accounts to make sure the projects are completed, and whatever balances are on accounts, they just cancel them, and whatever funds are remaining will go into a capital surplus account.
Which is to be spent specifically
For capital
projects, capital projects.
Correct, and
Yep.
Great. That was it.
Okay, jump forward again to Q. It's a license agreement with Central Parking Systems for 80 parking spaces located at 135 Green Street. R, we're applying for monies from the Department of Justice for bulletproof vests for our police department. S, accepting a grant from the United States Department of Transportation, a hazardous material emergency preparedness grant in the amount of $18,000 to decontamination training. T is authorizing the use of competitive contracting to award a contract for citywide CCTV cameras and software.
Can't you explain a little bit more information? I'd like to have.
This is to start the project. process of going out to bid for CCTV cameras throughout the city. At the public safety hearing, we heard the other day about how the director has a plan. The CCTV cameras are almost 20 years old, so it's old technology. Camera quality isn't as good as it should be, so they are going to use this mechanism to begin the procurement process. We are putting funds in the capital budget for it. Director Shea, has a seized asset account that he's promising a couple $100,000 from there, and then Director Kearse is going to be trying to get us some Homeland Security money, so we can have a bigger pool of money and go at least $1 million in phase one of doing some upgrades and replacement and new cameras throughout the various parts of the city.
It's a complete overhaul, honestly, it's not.
Right.
So when you say phase one, I'd like to see, based on the location.
Shouldn't more like a detailed information like that?
Yeah, I mean, the director has he thinks it's going to be about $2.5 million project to, and he wants to put the cameras, not necessarily in the business districts where they are now, but look at the various trends of where there's crime is, so, and that's.
We'd like to have some information.
Sure.
Margaret, can you get the map of the locations?
Yes.
From the director. He put up a big map here and showed us the whole thing at the public hearing.
I've got a question. This, the CCTVs, are we building them in such a way that if like a private business does have it, like from a technology perspective, that they could allow it to be tapped into this, not the other way, but that the police could tap into it so the police can see it?
I don't know.
Because I'm sure the technology exists for that.
I don't have an answer to that question.
And it would be an innovative way to give the police a lot more access to a lot more video feeds with the signature of the business owner.
So my comment on this, and we've talked about this, we talked about the hearing as well, is that we need more information before we go out to bid. So to have those kind of people plug in, but we also have the different parks that are having cameras installed, Enos Jones, Pershing Field, Bethune Center, Berry Lane, and whether they're gonna all get plugged in, and there's this whole question of fiber, like who owns that fiber and compatibility. I have no idea what that all means. I'm sure you know. But I want to make sure that we're not like tied in, as I said, tied into Millennium for the next 3 decades, like, and can't go somewhere else.
Technology's advancing so rapidly.
Yeah.
Something with an open platform would seem to make sense here. Obviously with appropriate security protocols, so only police can get it, but open in terms of secure access.
Right. So, you'll look into that?
Yeah, I mean, I
Effectuate that
think,
before-
because we have so many projects going on throughout the city, and everyone has their own little thing they're doing, it might be best to hire a consultant, maybe, I hate saying it, but hiring a consultant who knows the outside technology, who we could focus on our needs and make sure they're all focused on the same goal.
This is so important to get right. I think we would want to bring in, this is a huge investment, and also, like, if there's creative thinking that could be applied and systems improvement.
Future forward thinking.
Yeah.
We may not be able to do this right now, but we can work to hook in the next 10 years, it can still do it.
Yeah.
Like what we have right now, we
Good call,
can't even
Rhonda.
fix the cameras that we have right now. Because there was no forward thinking, they were set for that time. And so now they're no good, really. It would cost more to fix it than to put new cameras. So I agree with Candace. I think it would be good to have a camera technology person to come in and make sure that we're able in 5 years to do whatever needs to be done to keep them operating well.
I know there's an urgency, obviously it's crime, and Jersey City Together has expressed strong concerns about this, right? But we want to get it right, like, get it right. Right, I agree with you 100%.
And the different system probably they require.
No, that's why you want to have the open platform.
Yeah.
The platform is an important decision.
I think we need an outside source to make sure we get it right, to be
Right,
perfectly
someone
honest,
looking out
because
for
this is
our
something
interests
serious.
on that.
Those cameras need to work, and we need to grow with the cameras.
No, they
Just for those of you,
Yeah.
those of you who weren't here at the,
Well, you know what, we've gotta grow with them, because technology changed, we're behind.
For those of you who weren't at the budget hearing for the public safety, the Millennium has been doing a lot of the repairs, we were informed, and, I mean, ultimately, they just kept doing the repairs, knowing they're gonna break down, like, and so, while they may be able to provide the necessary technology now that we're looking for, the fact that they didn't, I feel, that the fact that they didn't come forward and say, you're really throwing money away by repairing these bad cameras, they weren't really looking out for our interests in that regard. And so I'd like somebody to like give us a...
You know, the other night when we had that meeting, how could they say that they've been doing the repairs when a load of those cameras were never even hooked up? Why the heck didn't they say something or do something?
I agree.
I mean, this is a joke.
They weren't the vendor when stuff got installed. Now they are. But just so you know, we couldn't go directly to Millennium on a new contract because they only have they don't have a state contract. They only have a GSA contract, which means you can only use Homeland Security money to invoke that. Since we're using capital and other sources, it's a moot point. There'll have to be a public procurement process. And so when we do go that way,
Not that we can spend that kind of money, but what are they doing?
Yeah. Okay, so that's T, I agree.
All right, we're up to, we did O, we did P with plat. Q, we're up to Q, I think.
we're up to you.
U, pardon me, oh yeah, sorry. U is competitive contracting for environmental consulting services for the housing and rehab program at HEDC. V is also competitive contracting for various grants that the city receives from HUD. W, X, Y, Z, and Z1 all relate to the closure of public streets.
I'm
W
sorry,
for the
before
new...
you move on, what is this with the HUD consultant for? Is this the same consultant?
No, use competitive contracting to hire a new consultant
To do what?
to assist them in the regulatory process of community development.
Which is the person who was helping them before, similar to like that person?
Similar to that.
Okay.
All right, W is for the Newport 10,000. X is for the Jersey City families for the purpose of the JC Kids Run. Y for the Indian Independence Day celebration. Z for the SMB Outdoor Pier Experience, and Z1 for the Diwali Mela celebration. We're going to have two resolutions that close public streets added to the agenda.
Is this the Santa Cruz one?
Santa Cruzan and...
That's okay with you?
And any other as well.
Okay, are you kidding me? It's one of my favorite events. You get to go door to door, just so anybody knows. Door to door to door, and you can eat in everybody's house.
Z2 and Z3 we did with Brooke Hansen earlier. Z4, gold type business machine for computer hardware, equipment, peripherals, and related services through emergency management, funded through a grant. Z5, Astra Software Corp. For support and enhancement of the Department of Public Safety, the computer-aided dispatch system. Z6, an open-ended contract to Extel Communications for voice and data cabling goods and services. Z7, if it looks familiar, it was on the last agenda. It's the resolution for the licensed veterinarian for the animal clinic. Mr. Paul Bellenboyer was here at the last caucus about that. Z8, ratifying and authorizing a professional services agreement with the law firm of Vapruzes, McDermott, Mastro, and Murphy to represent the City of Jersey City in the matter of the Jersey City Public Employees Incorporated Local 245 versus the City of Jersey City.
Yeah,
Well, we knew that lawsuit was coming. It was either going to be the
Right.
public
Either way.
employees versus us or the Teamsters versus
Rest of
us.
us, right.
Well, why is 245 suing us now? Like,
Yeah, but
after,
I thought it was the other way around.
yeah.
We pulled it.
Yeah, it was pulled, and I
Now
thought
they
the Teamsters
They
was,
filed a federal lawsuit. They filed 3 different actions against the city, federal and 2 with PERC. Before that meeting, they had filed it.
It's an old issue, right?
Yeah.
It's not,
Well, it's an issue we have to resolve.
Gotta resolve it now.
they're not gonna push it.
But the fact that
think we should reconsider the other thing.
This is not about the
They have not
Teamsters
withdrawn
Union
their-
coming over, is it?
They have not
No,
withdrawn.
it's not the case, not this one.
I don't know, maybe we should reconsider
Teamsters Union
what we
coming over,
pulled.
is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is this related to the Teamster thing?
Yes,
It is.
All right, I think we should reconsider that then. Y'all
Oh,
should
no,
put
no,
that on
no,
the
hold
next
on, this
agenda.
is what Teamster was, what we passed it last week?
No, we pulled
we didn't pass anything.
It got pulled, maybe we should consider it.
But the action started with that, and then they've, 245 has brought other issues as part of their lawsuit. So it started with the Teamsters, now they've brought other labor issues to part of it.
So get pissed off.
Yeah, somebody should deliver some, I mean,
Yes.
you know, I would like to when people care about taxpayers.
That's what I'm saying.
Because this is
It's like
ridiculous.
insulting to us.
It is.
I will definitely let them know that.
You know what I'm saying?
Not only that, but why can't we put everybody on one union, like on the Teamsters? Do you know
I mean-
what I'm saying? In other words, why? I don't know if that's right or wrong.
Yeah,
What I'm saying is, there needs to be one, and if this one is not up to par or is causing all of this conflict, then why don't we consider the other one? We can't do that?
Okay,
We did consider them and we decided,
Right.
asked them to withdraw the,
I just spoke with them, well, we estimate, we do this one, okay?
Candace, folks,
Are we
get out
on
of here soon.
Are we on to Z9?
Z9, Harold Blood, represent the city in the condemnation matter of 141 Newark Avenue.
My question on that is. Oh, sorry, that's not the one, I meant Z10.
Z10 is Cal Cagney and Konevsky to represent the city. Corporation Counsel Jeremy Farrell and former Councilman Mariano Vega.
No. See, 7 condos for artist condo, that's what it means, right?
That's the 311 Washington Street.
Yeah.
Right, so,
I think it's
They
7.
haven't done anything yet, and they've taken action against the city.
so,
Councilperson Osborne, called me.
yeah, so this, I mean, this has been going on for a long time. My understanding is that they destroyed the condos. They
They have, the units themselves have been butchered a little bit, some appliances removed and moved to other locations in the building. So if and when the city does sell them, we may have to put some money into it to make them presentable before we sell them.
We don't know who did it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, should make that clear.
The units are not ready for use.
How much does it cost to get them right?
Well, it depends on the unit. There are some that are it's just a matter of floor tiles or flooring missing. There are some where it's in much worse shape. So it depends on the unit. But all told, all the units together, it would be a significant amount of money to make them suitable for.
And have we taken them to court for anything?
Not directly. Not to my recollection anyway. This has been going on since quite some time before I arrived here. But there has been litigation in the past regarding this particular matter pertaining to what the zoning board had ruled was allowable and what the developer had to provide. We were supposed to keep these units for a particular purpose, and it seems like that purpose is difficult at best under the circumstances.
Wait. Coleman?
This happened in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or something like that. And my understanding is that they were supposed to be used for a particular purpose, like affordable housing. Or artist housing. And so that didn't happen, and the condos were given for free, meaning we paid no money for them. It was a part of the negotiation that they gave us these particular amount of units.
The units were awarded to us, but there are carrying costs associated with having the condo units. Maintenance fees, et cetera.
Maintenance, we would pay property tax, right?
Wow.
And no, I think this did not happen to our, terms, it says happen here listed. The first things, is a common sense in the downtown prime area. Even though city get the 7 units by $475,000, which means like a $60,000 or $70,000 each unit, take out developer with the 7 units, you know what I'm saying? And they expect any artist can rent a place, pay maintenance, taxes, so and so. It's not affordable housing units anymore, you know what I'm saying? It's a common sense.
Agreed.
And now today, because of the previous administration, the way the action they did that without common sense, now it costs for taxpayer. We gotta pay maintenance, something we not even use
For
it.
7 years.
We pay property tax, something we not even use.
That's right.
You know, it's too much.
At what point could we just auction them?
See, that's why I keep saying that we
Or
pitch a
something? I mean,
auction to sell it.
I'm just trying to understand, because like now it's another $75,000, always the maintenance. Like, at what point do we just say, like, get it off our hands?
Can we do that? Can we say it to auction?
Probably we cannot because on the litigation.
Well, they're saying we can't do any of that. Yeah, they're saying that it has to
Give it
go
to
the
artists.
use that
Do an
we-
auction for
that
artists
previous
only and let them do it.
administration-
But they
Am I
cannot
right or
pay
wrong?
maintenance,
They're saying,
property
their
tax.
argument is that
Oh,
it needs
the
to be
auction takes
used
care of that.
for the use
The market
that
will
the
bear what they can
administration
afford.
said they were gonna use it for. Or we can't do any other than that. Meaning, if we want to sell it for whatever price we could get for it now, if that's over the amount of the artist's work or amount, then we're to gain money or something, they're saying. But we've paid for those apartments ever since day one that we had them, right?
Well, what I can say is this. Obviously, continuing to hold on to these units is a drain on our resources, and we're getting nothing in return. We have a menu of options to explore, but holding on to these units in perpetuity doesn't seem to be a wise route to continue pursuing.
What is the current market price for the unit?
Well, it depends. Each unit is slightly different configuration, so
Approximately 47 units, and what is that?
How many bedrooms are they? One or two?
I believe they're all one bedroom. I don't really know off the top of my head. Their studios are one bed. They're large, but they're, you can imagine downtown prices. It's,
Is to prevent us from trying to sell them for market rate. Because the previous developer will say he could have sold them for market rate rather than giving us the 7 units. So now we have to be mindful of the restrictions that were in place, and I think that's something on before the zoning board.
Right.
And, you know, if we do sell them at some point, it might be funds that we take in to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That's an avenue we're looking at. So it wouldn't be something we take into the budget, but we would maintain the affordability restriction by keeping it in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So that's what we're looking at. Believe me, we realize what a drain it is, as John's been saying.
And 12 are with Dominic Carmagnola for Robert Troy matters versus Astriab and Montone.
Those are over 10 years old, aren't they?
Yeah, longer than that.
When do you think it'll be?
Now we have C13, it's the subordination agreement affecting 117, 119 Boswick Avenue.
No, just a question.
That's an emergency.
There's nobody hit the water fountain. I just was wondering where we were at with those lawsuits, because they're like a dozen years old.
Yeah, I don't know the answer there, so we need a law official to tell us.
That's more, it's more than 10 years since gone.
2004.
I just want to bring up something, and I know a couple of people here. You know, for 2.5 years, we've been asking, we'd like full-time aides. You know, Farrell promised he was going to do something. Orlando, something has to be done. If they have to just change the name of the clerks, this city needs full-time people helping.
And we gotta pass that resolution.
So, no, it's a shame. I mean, it's been going on for 2.5 years. I know Danny's in favor of it. A couple of us, Young, myself.
Okay. Well, what is the problem to do this?
So let me start with looking at an ordinance for city council that would be effective in 2017, making it comparable to Newark and part-time, basically kind of full-time salaries with some restrictions on holding public jobs and so forth, right? The second thing on AIDS requires state changes to state law, and so we'll reach out. Joyce has spoken to Angela McKnight, discussed that with her as well. We'll follow up and see if we can get something into the hopper at the state level and get it moving there. Yeah.
We get it, like, maybe not exactly in line with New York, but.
You don't have to take on another job to survive.
You see, first things, this city has a 3-state assembly, I think they, in Jersey City. So now, they don't mind, and the rest of the assembly, they don't mind, as long as they say, oh, City of Jersey can pay the full-time aid. You know what I'm saying? And we, actually, 2010 census, we are around like 15,000 people less than Newark. But meantime, because they got 15,000 more populated in Jersey City, they got 5 full-time aid and the 1 full-time council. In the meantime, we got 15,000 people less than Newark, divided by 6 districts, probably each district 3,000 people less than there, but we got only part-time and the part-time aid. Actually, the job what we have to do,
Figure out where.
you know what I'm saying? So I think, John, the first things we, city council, put in a resolution, and as a whole together, we have to, we look at the state, amend the state ordinance, the state law, to have, I like to see that the ordinance as soon as possible, you know what I'm saying?
Resolution.
Resolution, right, resolution.
State legislature to.
And our council president lobbied to state to New Jersey to change that, just, the 8 positions, so and so.
I agree.
And the meantime, before we prove that our budget.
Because it won't affect
You know what I'm
us, it
saying?
affects the next administration. So it's not like we're asking for raises for ourselves right now, because after doing this for 4 years, which I'm doing, you've worked out a system. This is asking for that to happen in the next administration on. Is that not correct? I think we should do it.
No, you know what? It doesn't matter. It can be matter, but whatever we ask to change have to be started this.
It's a start.
Sure. They have no reason to hold till 2017.
To start for the aides, you're saying?
Yes, 8. Yes,
Well,
at
and I
least
think we
8.
should have a conversation about what our aid needs really are, because I think Newark's is maybe too much, but.
Yes,
I do
they're
thi-
too much. That's
But
I
I do
agree.
think that there's a person for constituent services and a person for legislative services.
Yes.
And maybe a half a person for scheduling, I don't know, but like.
Yeah, I think so.
But at least, but 2 to 2.5, it would make me, I would do much better job for the residents if I had
So would I.
coverage, better coverage.
I have 226 emails, which is low, from one day, from yesterday to today. And there's no way that I could read this package, do that. My aide is answering all the telephone calls and doing the scheduling, responding to each one of those and doing a schedule. There's no way that you can do the work that's necessary to be done for this city in those short hours. There's no way.
John and the BA, Bob K. I'd like to see Bob K. When I bring up that resolution 2013, actually mayors are not happy with that. Mayors actually make statement to Councilman Michael, instead of the public service, he wanted to self-service. But actually, when I managed to get elected councilman, when I see that the amount of work,
He was for it when he was council.
yes, I think we need
He
it.
opposed it then.
Yes, but now, 3 years later, every council members in this room have the same opinions we have. It's about time to push the button.
We've dealt with it, so we
Done.
know.
We've been
That's
asking
it.
for this for 2.5 years.
It needs to
And
happen.
why can't we just change the title from aide to clerk?
Motion to adjourn.
No, because we need more
You're
than
driving me home, so
we need
don't go
more than
away.
a clerk. In other words,
Motion
we
by
need a
Kajewski,
We need a concern.
seconded by Councilperson Waterman first. We're adjourning at 7:07. Councilperson Kajewski. Fasciano. Yun. Osborne. Coleman. Rivera. Alvaro.
Are you